Thank you for joining us on ClariT Conversations. This production is brought to you by ClariT Media and KPOO Radio.
Paris, are you ready to party? Are you ready to party? Well, it's time to meet the Lionel Ritchie Band.
On this episode of ClariT Conversations, I'm joined by musical master, producer, singer-songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, and band leader for musical superstars like Lionel Ritchie, Janet Jackson, Bette Midler, and Tina Turner, just to name a few. He's had hit after hit after hit, reached the top of the Billboard charts. Chuckii Booker joins ClariT Conversations.
Good. Look at you.
Hey, Chuckii. Okay.
You're so silly. You're too much.
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. So let's get into this. All right. So I am so excited to have you right now, Chuckii. This is, I know, a really odd way to talk and meet, but look, it brought us together after 30 years. How many years?
Yeah.
So we met back in 1989 in Oakland, California. We met at the KDIA concert on the Green at Lake Merritt.
Okay. Wow.
And you were, I think it must have been one of your first performances. And you seemed like you were nervous before your performance backstage, just like I was. I was nervous. It was my first public appearance with the radio station.
If it was 1989, that would be one of my very first appearances. Yeah.
At a lake in a park.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Vaguely.
With
I don't remember the sense. I don't remember the scenario, but I remember that, and I remember you.
Of course you remember.
Yes,
me.
Yeah, but I remember In Vogue, and I remember Tommy and Denny, the Thomas McElroy and Denzel Foster were there. I remember that. I was talking to them for a while. Yeah.
Vesta Williams performed that day.
Wow.
Christopher Williams.
Wow.
Because of two Williams last names, I remember that clearly. And Hammer was backstage.
Okay.
Peddling his music.
Because I remember talking to Hammer too. That's right. I forgot about that. I did talk to him briefly.
That was a great day, and that was the day we met, and that was so many years ago. But you were pushing your song,
Turned Away.
Yeah, and dancing on stage and all that. Okay, so you were considered New Jack Swing. What did you? Were you proud to be part of the whole New Jack Swing movement at that time?
I mean, sure. I mean, I would never consider myself a New Jack artist per se, but
right.
Yeah, you know, if anything, Turned Away. I know people say, "Oh, that's New Jack," but it's not. It's really go-go. It's go-go with some chords on top. That's if you play. Yeah, that's go. It's just go-go.
Yes.
Rhythm of the cowbells and the percussion.
Yeah.
Straight go-go, so I just kind of ripped.
Also, maybe you kind of set the pace for doing the butt and School Days and all of that.
Well,
when it
actually, I think that was already out before then.
Oh, okay.
I think it was, so I just kind of took that, the drum kind of stuff a little bit, not a lot, just a little from that, and put it towards, pop R&B at that time, R&B at that time. So I
think that's something a lot of people don't realize, is that you use that style.
Yeah.
Or that genre.
But it came out, during that, the New Jack era. Thanks to Teddy. Teddy started Teddy Riley started the New Jack Swing. So anybody that was Black and came out with an R&B record, you were automatically thrown in the New Jack, Swing era, no matter what,
Right.
And you know what? And I'm cool with that. I'm cool. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, but nah. because for those of us who have followed you and have listened to your music and know what you do, there is no way that they even had a clue what you were
No,
really about or what you were capable of and what you had
no,
going for you. That's just
no.
how it is, though, I guess, when you're
Yeah,
first.
no, that's just how it is. I mean, you listen to the rest of both of my records, and there is not 1 ounce New Jack in
No.
any of that. Maybe
Right,
with
right.
the exception, maybe one kinda, but
No.
other than that, no.
So
No.
let's go all the way back to when you were an actual New Jack, the little kid in the projects in Southern
Oh, yeah.
California.
Yes.
That New Jack. Okay, so
Yeah.
just take a moment.
Uh-huh.
What kind of student were you? I mean, because you ended up in music, and most students who end up in music were the students who weren't really academically like into it. But what were your school days like?
Oh, and I was a great student. I
Okay.
just had this conversation with my mother just a few days ago. We were talking about, me being in school. No, I was great. I was all A's. Maybe a couple of B's here and there, but mostly
Okay.
A's. I was part of, in my high school, I was part of a program called the Knights, where only the top, 10 students out of the entire, class could be
Uh-huh.
part of this club. So I was part of that. And yeah, it was called the Knights, and I was a part of that. And I had great grades. But I think I did
That's
it mostly because um, I was so like ready to get back home and do my art and do my music. So my mom says, "Hey, if you do well, I'll help you get this. I'll help you get guitar, help you get this, whatever." And so I
okay.
passed with flying. I had a reason to. I was passed with flying colors. I did. It was like no problem for me.
So
Yeah,
that was your motivation.
that was definitely my motivation.
She hung that carrot in front of you.
She sure did. She hung that carrot. Yeah.
So the carrot was it a guitar? What was your first instrument?
My first instrument actually was a bass guitar.
Oh,
It was a bass, because
for a little kid. How old
yeah,
were you?
yeah. Oh, I was like, what, 13 when I got my first bass. We always had a piano in our home, so that wasn't, I don't really consider that, getting an instrument, because we always had a piano in the home. So that was, but my very first instrument was a bass guitar. And I
Oh,
was like 13 or 14. My grandmother took me down to the pawn shop, and I found this red bass, and I was like, "That's it, man. That's the one I want." And it was a left-handed bass. And I'm left-handed, so I
oh.
couldn't find any basses at that time. But I found this one that was left-handed, and my grandmother got it for me. And man, that was it. I was gone after that.
That was destiny.
Yeah,
That's like a children's book. You need to write that book.
yeah,
That's the perfect children's book, because really the left-handed guitar being red, sitting in the dusty corner at the pawn shop.
yep,
That could be a
yeah,
great story,
yeah,
especially since you are the creator of a scholarship for children who are
yes,
composing at an early age and beginning their music career.
yes.
Um, Talk about your Chuckii Booker scholarship just briefly, because a lot of people don't realize that it's out there for those musically gifted students and family
Yeah.
members of theirs.
Well, every year, me and associated with BMI, we come together for each year, and then we give out a scholarship program, for any like excelling student or someone that's just really into music, that has the depth and the power and the want to be in the industry. So I
Yeah.
spoke with BMI, and they said, "Hey, you know what? Let's try to put something together, and we can, put together like this little, and it's $3,000 plus a start." Yeah, so it's very
Nice.
cool. It's very cool to get
Nice.
started.
So
Yeah,
they can find out more online by going to what?
BMI,
Okay.
BMImusic.com.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right, that's cool. I just kind of read up on that a little bit. It was nice to see that.
yeah,
Speaking of kids, so as a kid, you were, running around the projects. You had your red bass guitar. You're playing the piano, and were you performing in school and stuff, or in church? What were you doing?
yeah. I started playing and singing in church when I was like um, a 7, actually. When I was 7, I was playing in church. My mother just
Wow.
kind of threw me out there, and said, okay, you're gonna play and sing. So I did that, and she
Wow.
saw that I wasn't nervous, and she saw that, oh, okay, he's a natural. He can, do it or whatever. So I just pretty much just played in church because my mother's she's a gospel pianist. So I just kind of followed under her wing. In fact, my entire family, they're all musicians. So it was just a matter of time for me. My uncles, they all play. They play, sing, they play various
your
instruments.
Dad was an
And my dad
artist
was a
also.
singer. Yeah, my dad's son, he had a doo-wop group, and they were really, doing their thing. So
Did he sing lead?
he sung co-lead.
Oh,
Co-lead,
wow.
co-lead with my uncle. My uncle and my dad were both, but my uncle could really sing. He could warble for real.
So what was
My
the name
Uncle
of that
Leon.
group?
You know what? I think they were called the Blue Jays or the Jays.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it's the Blue Jays. I'm gonna have to.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask
And then
my
your
mom.
mom, do you think your mom's work in the church as the pianist helped it in your influence with directing people?
Absolutely, yeah. Because I used to see my mother do it like all the time in choir rehearsal. She'd say, tenor, sing this. Alto, sing.
Right.
Blah, blah, because my mom was running all of that. So, it was kind of cool to, get that firsthand experience. I had a front row seat. So I'm like, okay.
Right.
And
Right.
I
It
saw
had
how
to
she
come
dealt
from
with people.
somewhere.
Yeah.
I figured.
Yeah. My mom has great, people skills. She has that. She's really good at that. So I kind of, picked up on that.
So
Yeah. Now that no one's ever asked me that. So that's pretty interesting,
Yeah, because you didn't just wake up one day and start, directing people and producing on such a large scale. Yeah, I mean, that didn't just happen overnight. It was some part of your background and childhood where it came from. And to acknowledge it is really the important part of retrospect, because for kids who are listening to this interview, they'll want to pay attention to those things that you're talking about,
Yeah.
If there's someone in the family doing it, or if there's, some influence, they need to pay attention to that, really cherish it, and kind of record it, keep a working record of what they're doing to progress every day and in terms of their growth and development. And so your mom was always there. She was always involved in the church.
Always.
So, and it, a lot of church kids, preachers' kids and all of that, they don't really take it, and appreciate it always. They kind of take it for granted sometimes, unless, there are rare few that come out of that and become major artists. Speaking of gospel music, how come you never produced, or did you produce any gospel music?
have. Yes, of course.
Talk about it. We don't hear that a lot.
Yeah, I did. I actually worked on, I did 2 songs for Commissioned.
Oh, yes.
I did a song, their first single. This is back in 1994. They had a song called Love is the Way.
Yes.
I produced and co-wrote wrote that with Fred Hammond, and I was also featured in the video that they had at the time. There's a video out, and so I was part of that. So when people would see me, they go, "Hey, aren't you in commission?" All the people from from the gospel, they, "Are you in commission?" I'm like, "No, I was just in the video, but I'm not in commission."
Oh my gosh! So commission, they were similar to Take 6 at that time with a quartet style.
I think they were more. I wouldn't say Take 6, because they weren't really a vocal group. They were a full band.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were full. I mean, Fred played Fred played, bass and keyboards. A couple of the other guys in there played, keys and whatnot, and they had a drummer. So they were a band to me.
Yeah.
But I think outside of that, as far as like them being an artist, then they would be more, I guess, compared to the Winans, at that time.
Okay.
Yeah. That's how I would
educate the audience.
Yeah.
And speaking of educating the audience, for those of you out there who don't know who Chuckii Booker is, this is the one and only Chuckii Booker. He is my friend, and we are talking. Yes, it is real. I'm actually talking to him. When you Google him, you will hear, what does it say? Chuckii Booker is an American, hold on, let me.
Wiki, or is it just Google?
Google Chuckii, and let me see if I can play this for you. Who is Chuckii Booker?
According to Wikipedia, Chuckii Booker is an American producer, singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, and bandleader.
Okay. So listen, did Wikipedia, did they do you justice, or is that how you want to be remembered?
You know what? I don't have a problem with that.
Right. It's very general though.
Yeah. I mean, maybe so. I mean, I've never really looked on someone's Wikipedia to see exactly how it's supposed to be mapped out or laid out. I mean,
well, not very many people are on Wikipedia. So.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I read it a little while ago. I mean, it had pretty much most of my credits on there. I think maybe with the exception, maybe one or two things, but for the most part, it was pretty much on, I think.
Well, you know, that speaking of your brand and your image and all of that, you know, with social media and people being able to just pick up their phone and speak your name into the telephone and get information like that, just, I mean, how do you feel about that in terms of your privacy? And, you know, whether it's accurate or not, it's information that's out there about you, right?
Well,
kind of weird to me, but
yeah, I mean, it's just the sign of the times, you know. It's the age that we live in. So either you accept it and deal with it, or you don't.
Yeah,
you just get mad and get bitter. It is what it is.
Well, the thing about you that I love so much is that you are down to earth. You like.
Thank you.
If no one knew you or knew your name and could Google you or anything like that, then you know, you would just be a really great guy. You know, he's talented and but he's a really great guy.
That's cool. That's thank you.
You know, great dimples to match. You know. Okay, so for some folks who know you, they know that Barry White was your godfather. For those who don't, Barry White was his godfather, okay? Yeah, the Barry White of the Love Unlimited orchestra.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about and I hear you talk about Barry White being your godfather and how he showed up at the projects and your friends came running in to tell you, Barry White is at your door, dude. Like,
and I was like, what? Yeah.
And that's a great story too. That's another great story about, you know, a kid in the projects, you know, kind of being like pulled out, being discovered by a superstar at that time, you know. Barry White was like a god, you know. He was rolling around in this big white car or big fancy car and a Lord Jesus down his back, you know, looking like the royal king that he was.
Yeah, he was like,
he exemplified it, huh?
Yeah. It was like he was like a god from Africa. It was like King Mufasa, you know, walking up there. It's like, whoa,
right?
You know? And he was a big dude, so you know he was like tall. He was like 6'3", 6'4". So you know he was he was a big guy. So but he was so cool. You know, he was so cool. Yeah, and I just you know that was a crazy time.
So tell me what your godfather said to you early, some of the things that he said to you early on that really cut through to you and maybe even shook you up or scared you at some times or you know, just made the real impact
you know, that was something that happened every day. He would always have something constructive every day. So there's not one thing I can really pick out because he was just like that all the time. he would say things that just like, whoa, you know, just, he was, a lot of people would never look at him as someone who's very woke, very spiritual, but he was everything of that and more. And he just never displayed that side of him, you know, because he was just pinned as, you know, the love God, or, you know, the love man, or he's the love guy, the love doctor, or all these names he had. He didn't like any of that stuff, but, you know, it was just, people just pinned him up, you know, pinned him with that. And you know, it is what it is, but he was so much more deeper than that. I mean, beyond, light years beyond any other
I've seen
human
interviews with him where he was very serious, and you could, he had that undertone where, you know, he was kind of, it seemed like he would have liked to have been able to talk about issues of the day,
but
and all of that.
No, at that time, no, it wouldn't have been, that it could have easily ruined his career, you know.
Oh, I see.
Easily, you know, talking about certain things that nature. He would never, ever, ever speak like that on you know, in the masses or on television, because he was very keen to people's sensitivity and the way they think, and, you know, and he would never do that intentionally. But if you knew him and you sat with him and you talk about, you know, the stars and the gods and oh man, you know, he just told me stuff like, you know, I will say this, if it's one thing that I did learn from him very early on, that he taught me, and I was about like, can you imagine being like 10 years old and you're sitting with Barry White and he talks to you and he's like, look, don't ever believe everything you see on television. He said, everything is a lie, Chuck-a-Luck. He used to call me Chuck-a-Luck. That was my nickname. He said, Chuck-a-Luck.
Chuck-a-Luck.
Don't believe anything you see on television. Nothing. He said, it's everything they show you, it's for a reason. It's for an agenda. He taught me that at 10. So, you know, a kid's logic at that time, you know, I took heed to it.
Yeah.
So, you know, I see a lot of, when you see certain things on television, I mean, not certain things, but pretty much everything, it's for, you know, I don't believe it. It's like, prove it to me that it is what it is. Or, you know, but he was a lot deeper. He was a lot deeper than what people gave him credit for.
And because he was so deep, I guess that is part of the reason why he had so much success in the industry. Because he didn't play.
No, he did not. He did not play. Yeah, and
with the record industry being the way it is, and you know.
Yeah, he was basically the last of a dying breed of that time. You know, and you know, he sold over 100 million records. You know, that's just crazy. You know, a lot of people can't say that they've done that, and I'm talking about worldwide phenomenon. You know, I started playing with Lionel, Ritchie in 2000, and when my godfather passed in 2003, when he passed away, and we actually did a tour right after that he passed. We did a tour in Europe, and Lionel would introduce me, and, you know, during the shows, and he'd say, yeah, and this is, you know, the godfather. I mean, his godfather was Barry White. Then after the show, people would come up to me like on their knees and crying and saying, oh my God, we loved your godfather. You know, he meant everything to us. And I'm just sitting there like, I mean, and I'm looking at Lionel like, yo, you know, it's like, okay. I said, I appreciate it. I mean, it happened all the time. When we were in Italy, oh, those people were just, you could tell they were very emotional, and they loved him. And then that's when I started to realize, it took me that long to realize, wow, he was loved around the world, like hugely around the world.
So Chuckii, you know, I've been thinking about this conversation we're having, and I was thinking about you possibly doing some work to honor him. Have you I'm sure you've thought about it, but could you consider recreating like the Love Unlimited Orchestra and doing some kind of symphony style
I would love
world
to. Yeah.
tour.
Yeah. I
I
would
mean,
love
I
to.
think that would
It
would
would
kind of put a cap on,
absolutely. Yeah.
bring it full
I
circle.
would love to do something like that. I really would.
So
Consider that
what
I
would
was.
that look like? Describe what it would be like, or who's some of the artists would be, and would it be different genres of opera singers and
Yeah. I mean,
R&B and rap and
it could be whatever I would want it to be, only for the fact that Barry's music just transcended all genres, So it that would be the easy part, is finding
oh
any artist to come in and recreate like whatever song. And let's say we want to take "Can't Get Enough of Your Love" and flip it and um, make it like a reggae and have Rihanna on it. If I'm just saying, if I wanted to, we could do that and make it happen.
right.
You know,
Oh,
whatever.
that would be, it's my idea.
Yeah, it is. No, I'm just saying that would be great. I could totally see that.
That would be awesome, but it would be a lot of work. Not anything you're accustomed to putting together big productions like that.
Yeah, the music aspect of it is not hard.
Okay.
As a kid, I was at all those recording sessions, for all the string sessions for my godfather. I've seen it.
Wow.
It's, as a kid, she'd soak all that in. So,
Unbelievable.
yeah.
Unbelievable. That's so you were also soaking in the performance part of it. And so you decided you'd take a shot at performing, and in the process of performing and traveling and, and really trying to push your records, 1989, 1992, those were your really hot years. What made you stop and say, wait a minute, this performance stuff it's not what I thought it was. It was cool and it was fun for a minute, and you were in your early 20s too. So of course, you were having fun on the road, meeting the little cuties like me and all that. But
That's funny.
I'm not conceited, really.
That's funny.
I was much cuter back then.
Oh, stop. You're still beautiful.
But
Very
what was it? I mean, for a young man in his 20s, it seems like you would have just been, that momentum would have kept you going for a lot longer than you did. But you stopped and you decided, or how did that happen?
Honestly, I never wanted to be a singer, and I didn't want to be an artist to begin with. I basically did those records because I wanted to showcase my talent as a producer and as a writer. That's why I made those records.
Yeah.
I wanted people to hear what I could do. And then I'll just fall in the, on the back, in the wayside, and just produce and write and do whatever, I really wasn't expecting my records to do what they did. I really didn't. I was totally shocked, but, but I wasn't shocked as far as my ability to make those type of records. That's where I excelled, and that's what I wanted people to see and hear.
So you were doing some strategic planning, branding at
Very
that
much.
time.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so really kind of just, some people would call it, being a ham. I've had people call me a ham,
Yeah.
Because they think I'm on camera hamming, but really it's just something that I'm good at. I know that I can sit and have conversations with people. I can engage an audience, and, you just do what you do naturally. And when you know you're good at it, you want to, you have something to prove sometimes, and so I can understand why you would do that, and it worked.
It worked. Yeah, it worked.
It worked because then so Turned Away hit number 1 in 1992.
No, Turned Away, 1989.
89. Okay.
Games was 1992.
Okay. Wow. So between 1989 and 1992, you were hitting Billboard charts in the top 5.
Yes. And
Top
not just
10-ish.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn good. That's pretty
It was
good.
great. I
So
can't
then the
complain.
business of marketing and going out and making these appearances and all that stuff, and you got tired of it, or when did you make the shift to producing?
Right after my second album, I said, I'm just gonna stop, and they wanted me to do, Atlantic Records actually wanted me to do another record, but I said, no, I've had enough. That was it. I'm done.
And did you see something in the industry that made you really say, oh, hell no?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't want to
Okay,
talk
so
about it here, but yeah.
we don't have to get into detail, but let's see.
Let's just
Let's
say
see.
I'm just not with that craziness. That's all. I'm not with that
Okay.
craziness. I'm not about that life. Never have been, never will be. So when certain people say, hey, we can take you to the next level, we can, you can be the next Kashif or the next big time producer and just hang, with us at doing this thing or hang with us at this event. Nah, son. I'm good. I'm good, son.
I like that. You were smart, and that was all of that experience, all that coming forward for you, your mom
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Barry
yeah,
and your family
yeah,
and your confidence
yeah,
and your good grades in school, and all of that came and showed up for you,
yeah,
and you were able to make that decision with
yeah.
confidence. And so the first thing you produced that was a super success that let you know that you were officially in that arena, above the line, we call it above the line, as a producer, was what?
I would have to say would be, I co-produced and helped with, along with Kipper Jones, writer, singer, producer. We did a song for Vanessa Williams called The Right Stuff. That was my first, yeah, yeah, that was like,
I
yeah,
love that song.
that was the very first thing I did that was of any
Wow.
significance that just kind of broke out. I mean, I had local success in LA, doing, local stuff that did very well, but that was like the first thing that kind of boom, it's like, hey, I'm here. Yay.
And with the controversy around her,
Yeah,
you
at
were
that
probably
time.
cheering her on.
Absolutely. It did really well for her. Amazingly well.
Man, you really took that and just, I think, so wait a minute, did you come in after the controversy to kind of help?
It was after the controversy because
Wow.
that record was on 87. So yeah, it was after the controversy. She got signed to Wing Records, which was Ed Eckstein signed her over at Wing Records. And yeah, then they decided to do a record on her, and boom.
And it just happened to be a record that you produced.
Yeah. I didn't produce, but yeah, I co-produced, co-produced. So
well, definitely.
I gotta keep that in there. I don't want to shortchange anybody's.
Right. But
yeah.
there, it just seems like, with your talent and everything, no matter what you're involved in, you're going to give it that flavor.
Yeah.
And there's no doubt about it. I mean, look at all of the artists: Bette Midler, Bonnie Raitt, Tina Turner, Janet Jackson, Lionel Ritchie, Vanessa Williams, Troop, and so on. And who else? Name some more. Just give me a whole string of names. Just name. And I know you're probably not into doing this, but come on, name drop.
Wow. Diana Ross, Barry Manilow, Angela Windbush, which I did a song for her called Treat You Right in 1994. Geez. Oh man, it's just, I can't even.
Did you ever do anything for Michael Jackson?
Actually, I did. I worked with Quincy Jones. Quincy Jones.
I was going to ask you about Quincy.
Yeah, I worked with Quincy on this Back on the Block album. The song that he did on that particular album, I played I played on keyboards and stuff. So it was kind of cool. It was kind of cool to,
Oh, wow.
he was there.
Man.
He was cool. He was cool.
So by that time, you were already familiar with
But
the
yeah,
business and familiar with
yeah,
people, and it was
superstars
just
and
another.
that never fazed me at all, because I've been around it my entire life. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm cool. But it was cool though. It's a great, it's great to have on your resume,
So what was something that you could have done that you didn't work on that you
Oh,
really wished that
I missed a lot of those.
you...
Yeah, I missed a lot of
Oh,
those.
okay.
Yeah,
We won't talk about those. Okay.
yeah, I missed.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a few of
Okay.
those I could have been on, but I was just so busy.
So now, as a producer, and understanding the business more than ever at this time in your life, for new artists, can you give a new artist some advice, just on how to approach, trying to sell their records, maybe just considerations, things for them to think about?
I would say I think for them that they really have to have a game plan. That's number one. You have to know exactly what it is that you want and know what it is in order to set a specific game plan to make that happen. Some people say, oh, I just want to be a singer, or I just want to, or I don't want to tour, I just want to just make records, or I want to be able to just make records only and I don't want to tour. Well, all of these things takes a certain road to travel down. So you have to be extremely and very specific as to what it is that you really want out of this business. And I think that in itself is going to make is going to either make or break you, because in this business, especially now as it pertains to back when I was in it, as an artist, it's totally changed. I would say first is, social media. That's number one. You have to have your Instagrams, your Facebook accounts, all that stuff linked. And if your material is going to be there, if you're going to have videos or whatnot, if you want to audition your songs, that's the best way to do it. That's the way record companies are doing it now. They're only going by specifically numbers. That's it. They want to know how many hits, how many likes, and trust me,
Whoa.
if you try to buy it, they'll know if it's real or not. They have certain things that say, because a lot of people buy their likes and ads and things of that nature.
Right.
So they already know how to bypass that and see what you're really doing for real. But so don't do that, kids. If you're out there buying, don't do that, because they know automatically if somebody is buying their success.
Yeah.
So when it's organic and you're doing it at a high level and you've got like over 1, 2, 3 million subscribers and your hits are like 3, 4, 5 million, and there are a lot of kids out there that are generating those types of numbers, and those type of numbers are what the record companies are really looking at. They're looking at who's
doing the most.
And then they'll approach you. That's how they're doing it now. They remember back in the day, they used to have like
marketing and artist development,
or they'd have they would send like an A&R guy out, you do like, I don't even forgot what they call it. They say you'd have to play and put on a show, while they have these people there watching you to see if they actually want to sign you or not.
Oh, I see.
Those days are over. Yeah, showcase. That's what they call it, a showcase.
Right.
Yeah, record companies used to have showcases all the time.
There was an episode on Empire just a couple of years ago, like 2 years ago, where they were doing this whole showcase. That was just 2 years ago.
Yeah.
They're not doing that.
Yeah. I'm even surprised that they were doing it then,
Things have changed so quickly, and there's a platform that I've just discovered where artists can upload all of their music now, and they can control their distribution through this new platform. And the platform also connects with the radio stations and their websites.
Okay.
And so it's just another kind of like middleman kind of distribution, marketing, but it gives the artist more control over their numbers, and it kind of is sort of like a boost, I guess. We'll put you on this platform and do the work for you of marketing and pushing your own independent stuff. But it's still very similar to the way the record companies used to work and do business. They're going to take a percentage of what you make still.
Of course, yeah. No matter what the platform is, they're going to make sure that they get their money.
Okay.
They're going to get their money.
So now, what artists do you want to work with right now in gospel? If you could work with someone in gospel right now.
Gospel? Ooh. My girl, Leandria.
I
love her. She's super
so
dope.
gritty and raw.
She's bad. I really, really like her. She's dope. I would love to work with her.
And what about in rap? Who would you work with in rap?
In rap, Drake. My man Drake. I love
And
Drake.
who else? I mean, come on now. Drake is doing all right by himself.
I know he's doing all right by himself, but I'm just saying, because I have so many ideas, in my head, I could really hear him doing his thing,
Oh, wow. That would be great, though, Chuckii.
It would be great, yeah. But no,
I can't imagine what it would be or what it would be. What would it, so describe it. Give us the elevator pitch.
You know what? It would be just like what he's doing right now, except it would be with live instrumentation. It would give his whole sound a whole another element.
Ooh, it'd be deeper and wider.
Yeah, just seeing him do something different. I'm always about going against the grain. That's always been me. That's something my godfather always taught me. If everybody's running to the left, he said, bro, walk to the right. Okay. He said, if everybody's, doing backflips to the left, you hop and skip, jump to the right. Always go.
That's some good advice.
Yeah,
that's some good advice. And what about the whole African movement? African music, African culture, and really bringing it up to where it's it's getting the respect and attention that it deserves.
Yeah, what? I think it's just the passing of an evolution of the genre of music. And back there was a point when it was Latin music was the big thing, and then before that it was everybody was using the Arabic, sounds and all that stuff, and the the Middle East sound, and then before that it was something else. So it's just the sign of the times. This is what's popping right now, and everybody's into it, and hopefully it'll stick around. But music is forever changing in the business, so I wouldn't expect it to stay, forever. But it is great that it's getting it's just you.
Yeah. I see those African roots in you. I'm surprised you haven't. Have you had your DNA done yet? Do you know what part of Africa?
Honestly, you know what? I don't. But me, just personally, I don't believe in that.
Oh.
I don't believe in. Well, like I said, it's just
tell us
taught from like I said, from my godfather. It's a lot deeper than that. The whole DNA testing for me, it's not just about where you are and where you're from, but it's about the purity of your blood and where you and who you are. It's more or less blood related than it is anything else, and. It's a long story. I don't want to get into it because we'll be here all night long.
Okay.
But one day we'll talk about it, and I'll tell you the reasons why I will never ever get my DNA tested. But I will. But I will tell you this: there are many reports, and I mean many, far too many, where one person has went to 3 to 4 different DNA companies, and all 4. Let's say they did 4 of them, and all 4 came back completely different from one to the next. So that in itself should tell you how I feel about it.
Okay.
Because I know what the real game is, but that's
Oh,
not to be televised right here.
okay.
But I know the game. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's a
Okay.
no for me.
Well, that's really
No
deep.
for
I
me.
mean, that's a side of you that I think a lot of people don't know. And so maybe later on, yeah, we can talk more about
We
that.
could talk about it.
That's
Yeah,
interesting.
because people aren't really ready for that. They're not ready
Right, right.
for the real. So
Right. Speaking of the real, the
yeah,
quarantine and the COVID-19 situation. Okay, so you've been keeping yourself healthy and wearing your gloves and your masks, or are
absolutely.
you getting out at all? And what do you think of? Is it kind of
I,
weird?
I get out when I want to get out. I'm
Okay.
not. Yeah, I just don't. You know, for me, I could just stay home, just go out on my deck and just chill and do that. If I need, I'll go to the store. They want us to wear masks. I'll wear a mask. Okay, yeah. You want to wear the gloves? I'll wear the gloves. But if you
Right.
really know the science behind a virus and bacteria, if you really know your info on it, then you'll understand to see that they have this whole thing twisted around. But that's not for me to talk about it here. So
Another serious. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Chuckii Booker.
Oh, I'm just
Ooh.
saying.
Deep. He's a deep man, you guys. There's
not,
so much
I'm not,
more to come.
not
Oh my
deep. I'm
gosh.
just,
We can't wait. We'll be standing by. Okay, maybe you'll deliver it through music, right? We have to listen carefully to the chords and the keys and the harmony and the
yeah,
melodies and all of that.
yeah. Because
Your
music
your
is such a
music is it expresses a lot of dynamic depth and breadth. You have a wide breadth of music
Thank you.
and history, and we appreciate all that you've done, but we're really looking forward to you doing more. So what's coming up for you in the future?
I
What are
am
you working
currently,
on?
yeah, I'm currently working on an EP. I'm gonna have at least 5 songs, six songs, and
Uh-huh.
so I'm gonna be working on. I'm working on it now, but I mean, um, definitely want to have that done in July. So hopefully have a single drop in August, somewhere around there. So
Are you singing and
yes,
performing and
singing and
all of
performing.
that?
Yeah, just like in the old days.
Oh wow, a lot of love songs.
Oh, absolutely, of course, absolutely.
Well,
Yeah, gotta have
great. The ladies will be happy to hear that
yeah,
because
I
we
mean,
remember you on that
oh,
stage at Soul Train
that's
dancing and looking all handsome with that shag and playing
Shaq.
all those instruments and put the guitar down and start gigging for us and all of that. Oh, you know, you gave us a peekaboo, like you said, and then so
Yeah.
you know how long we've been waiting. Okay. So how will you market it? Where should we look? Of course, Instagram, I guess, and on Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook, Instagram, it's all independent, of course. So,
Okay.
I'm just gonna just mass market as much as I can do on my own, and
Yeah, that's
and
kind
see
of
what happens. I'm not expecting it to, do like major numbers, but hey, I have my core, I have my fan base, and they are owed a record from me, so that's who I'm really focusing on. So
let me
those
say that again there.
hardcore
What?
fans. I said I have my fan base that
Yeah.
who are owed a project from me.
Oh,
It's
I
been so
see.
many years. Yeah, so
Oh,
they
yeah,
they
you
are
owe
owed
us.
that. Yeah, I owe you big
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of people contact me, and I said, okay, because I always wanted to. Oh, I need to get on a major record label. I got to have this kind of production. I got to have this. I got to have marketing. I have promotion. But now that things are totally different now, so I said, you know what? I'm just going to do it on my own and just
Yeah.
cater to those fans who have always supported me.
Oh, let me look at my list here. Okay, so really quickly, I'll just call out some names, and I just want you to quickly respond. Prince,
Incredible, incredible artist.
Aretha Franklin,
Best gospel singer in the world.
Bill Withers.
My alter ego when I get older.
Oh, wow. Let me see. Michael Jackson.
Incredible man. Heart of a lion.
And last but not least, me.
Queenly queens. You're just a queen. That's all I say. Queen. You are a queen.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that, Chuckii. And you will go down in history as a hidden gem.
I'm okay with that.
Force behind so many great productions that transcended music, touched lives, and really kind of created its own texture in the culture of rap music. You actually changed the way things went for a lot of folks.
Yeah.
By all of the music that you were able to produce and the artists you were able to promote and premiere through. Oh, let me mention one last thing. Did you ever, and I was just curious because I know you were on Soul Train, did you ever perform on American Bandstand?
I did.
You did. And what happened on American Bandstand? Was there some snafu or something?
Yeah, my guitar strap broke right during the performance, and we couldn't do it over again because it was one of the very few times that American Bandstand went live, and it was
right. I remember watching it,
and I was playing the guitar, and it just I'm like but hey,
and you recovered so well. And I was so proud. I remember watching it, Chuckii. I'm sorry.
Man.
I had to bring that up. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. No, it's funny. I'm just like, oh, man. But afterwards, I felt bad. But everybody was like, no, hey, it happens. Happens to everybody.
Look at how you recovered after all these years.
Yeah, it's no big deal. It happens.
So, really quickly, you're a father of how many children now? 5
children.
You have 5, and they're all adults or young adults?
Older, younger. 31 down to 11.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And happy Mother's Day.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We really appreciate you taking this time. Hopefully this will be a time capsule for a lot of folks. They can refer back to this interview and get a lot more information about Chuckii Booker, American singer, songwriter, composer.
My conversation with musical master Chuckii Booker will continue on ClariT Conversations, but you have to visit our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe and tap on the notifications bell to receive updates on our latest episodes. Thank you for joining us on ClariT Conversations. This production is brought to you by ClariT Media and KPOO Radio. For any questions or comments, please visit kpoo.com or Alicia Mayo 430@gmail.com. Your tax-deductible contribution helps support programming like this. Black woman owned. ClariT Media.